Have you ever found yourself, at a crossroads, just unsure which way to turn, or maybe felt that pressure, that squeeze of expectation, like you're trying to fit into a box that just doesn't feel right? We all face those moments, don't we? When the path isn't clear, when life feels a bit uncharted. Well, today we're going on a deep dive into a truly remarkable life, someone whose story offers a kind of internal compass, maybe a blueprint for navigating those exact challenges. We're talking about May-Britt Moser. She's a Nobel laureate, and her story is, well, it's pretty epic. It's this narrative woven with threads of incredible resilience, yeah, but also triumph and just the boundless curiosity. And you see how profound personal struggles really intertwine with her groundbreaking scientific work.
That's exactly right. And this deep dive, it's built on some really fascinating excerpts we have from May-Britt Moser, Mapping the Mind's Uncharted Journeys.
Yeah.
As we explore these, our goal isn't just to, list facts. We want to pull out the most important insights from her story. And not just about the brain's incredible workings, though that's amazing too, but really about what it means to be human. Confronting limitations, persisting, and building something, well, something extraordinary.
Right. So our mission today is pretty clear then. We want to uncover the specific details of her journey, from, like you said, humble beginnings all the way to her world-changing scientific breakthroughs, and really discover how her life might offer an internal map for your own uncharted journeys. It's such a powerful metaphor, isn't it? Because her life itself kind of formed this grid barriers, breakthroughs, much like the brain cells she would famously discover later on. And one thing I found particularly striking in the source material was where her journey actually kicked off. Can you tell us a bit more about that early life, that remote sheep farm upbringing? How might that have shaped her?
Oh, absolutely. It's such an essential part of understanding her. She was born on this remote Norwegian island back in 1963, youngest of 5 kids, grew up in a pretty humble family, and the landscape, this vast, wild sheep farm, that was her playground, really, her first teacher.
Wow.
And the source material really highlights her mother's influence. Her mom had actually dreamed of being a doctor herself, but had to abandon that dream.
Yeah.
So she kind of planted these seeds of ambition in May-Britt, telling her stories about heroes who use their intelligence, to overcome adversity.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, it really set the stage for a spirit that just refused to be confined.
And you touched on something else. She wasn't always the top student. I think a lot of us can probably relate to that. Were there specific qualities or maybe a moment from the source that showed that rare spark her teachers apparently saw, even if the grades weren't always stellar?
Yeah, the source points that out. Even when she wasn't excelling in every single subject, she had this raw, analytical curiosity. Like, for instance, when others struggled with a complex problem, May-Britt wouldn't just hunt for the answer. She'd try to dismantle the problem itself, figure out its underlying structure.
Like taking it apart to see how it works.
Exactly. That deep, almost playful drive to sort of map out ideas even back then. That was the intangible quality her perceptive teachers recognized. She just wasn't afraid to tread the path unknown, even when surrounded by what must have felt like, towering intellects or people doubting her.
That drive, it clearly led her somewhere pivotal. She met Edward Moser, her future husband and collaborator, in school, and together they embarked on this incredible journey into the brain's mysteries. But it sounds like it wasn't exactly a smooth ride, especially balancing ambition with family life.
No, not smooth at all. The source paints a really vivid picture of that struggle. For May-Britt, it often meant juggling immense pressure. The pressure to prioritize family over those long, demanding hours in the lab, which is a pressure her male colleagues, perhaps, faced less acutely at the time.
Right, that classic double standard, unfortunately.
Yeah, and she was candid about it, how harsh the scientific world could be, how competitive, and the absolute need for a really solid support network to manage raising 2 daughters while pursuing such demanding work.
But she didn't let it stop her.
No, instead of letting those difficult moments define her, she kind of embraced them. She saw the struggle as just part of the journey towards something much bigger.
What's fascinating, going back to that metaphor the source uses, her life as a grid. It's incredibly fitting, given the grid cells her research would uncover. Can you elaborate on how her life mirrored this grid of barriers and breakthroughs? Maybe give a concrete example of how she navigated those societal boxes you mentioned.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just like those grid cells map out physical space for us, her life was mapped by these points, barriers, and breakthroughs, setbacks, and triumphs. The source notes she definitely faced, occasional underestimation, maybe subtle gender inequality.
Like specific instances?
Well, for example, there might have been times where her contributions were initially downplayed or maybe specific ideas dismissed until perhaps presented by a male colleague, things like that.
Ugh.
But instead of retreating, she responded with this almost strategic persistence, finding alternative routes to prove her theories, building stronger arguments, cultivating key alliances. She was effectively rerouting her own journey around these obstacles, not letting them block her path.
And that rerouting led to some incredible science. Her contributions, alongside Edward and John O'Keefe, truly transformed how we understand the brain. They unraveled the brain's internal GPS system. Can you explain a bit more about what these grid cells actually are and why their discovery was such a beacon?
Yes, it's absolutely groundbreaking stuff. They discovered these grid cells in a part of the brain that fire in a very precise hexagonal pattern as we move through an environment.
Hexagonal, like a honeycomb.
Exactly like that. Imagine your brain just automatically laying down this mental grid, marking your exact location within it. That's essentially what these cells do. They help us navigate space.
Wow.
And this wasn't just, an academic milestone. It was a revelation. It helped explain how we form mental maps, how memory is encoded, and crucially, how these systems are impacted in diseases like Alzheimer's, where that spatial memory often deteriorates first.
So the implications are huge.
Immense.
It sounds like behind that achievement, though, was just this relentless pursuit, pure curiosity, and an absolute refusal to yield.
Were there specific moments mentioned of doubt or external skepticism that she really had to push through?
Oh, definitely. The source describes moments when they faced skepticism, even from their own advisor, who apparently initially doubted the significance of their findings.
Really, even their advisor. Yeah. And then there's just the sheer grind, right? Devoting endless hours in the lab, which can absolutely consume your personal life. But she maintained this fierce, almost playful skepticism of her own ideas, too, constantly testing them, which, ironically, probably made her even more resilient to doubts from the outside. She just kept pushing, always asking, okay, what's the next experiment?
And this brings us to another, maybe more poignant truth from her story. Life is never just a straight line, is it? May-Britt and Edward eventually divorced. It's a reminder that even the most brilliant minds, the most successful partnerships, face personal storms. How does the source reflect on this, especially regarding their ongoing professional collaboration after the divorce?
It's actually a really powerful testament to their shared passion. The source highlights that despite the personal changes, their professional bond remained incredibly strong. They continued to collaborate, to inspire each other, to build their scientific institute together.
That's remarkable.
It really underscores that their passion for knowledge, their mutual respect, it transcended those personal shifts. It showed that even when the tides of life changed, her scientific vision, their shared vision, remained steadfast.
So as we sort of connect all these dots from May-Britt Moser's extraordinary journey, what does her story ultimately teach us? It really feels like a powerful call to action, doesn't it? It makes you ask yourself, are you letting unseen boxes limit you? Are you ready to face the storms, whatever they might be, and keep your eyes fixed on the horizon?
Exactly. Her story is such a profound reminder that, extraordinary achievements often rise from the most ordinary beginnings. They come from persistent effort, especially amidst adversity. It really reinforces the idea that embracing struggles is what tempers our resolve. It transforms obstacles not into dead ends, but into essential points on the map of success.
Like coordinates.
Precisely. Every challenge faced becomes another coordinate in the grid of your own progress. So if May-Britt's life beckons us to anything, it is simply to dare. Dare to explore the unknown, dare to defy expectations, and also understand that building networks, building support systems is absolutely crucial. No great accomplishment truly happens alone.
That's such a key point. It's not just about individual grit.
Not at all. It's about connection, too.
So just like those grid cells in the brain guide us through physical space, maybe we can let May-Britt Moser's story be a kind of internal map, one that guides each of you through your own uncharted journeys. What undiscovered path will you dare to walk, fueled by the kind of courage that May-Britt Moser exemplified? The map, after all, it's yours to draw.